Now, buying a home here in Seattle is a very complex process. There's a lot of moving parts, new terminology, a lot of people involved, and today we are going over exactly how to buy a home here in Seattle. My name is Sophia Deveaux. I am a local real estate broker here in Seattle. We'll cover everything from preparing financially to everyone that is involved in the transaction and their roles, and even what to expect during closing. Let's go ahead, get started with the video. When you buy a home, you're not just dealing with 1 to 2 people, you're essentially assembling a whole team. Here is everyone that's involved in the transaction. First person is your real estate broker. They are there to represent you and your best interests and help guide you through the transaction. 2, you have the seller's real estate broker. They are going to have the seller's best interests in mind. Number 3, you'll have a lender. This is the person or institution that's going to help facilitate the loan. At 4, you have the title representative. They ensure the title of the home is clear and ready for transfer. Number 5, you have an escrow officer. They help facilitate the transaction and they handle any money involved. 6, we have a home inspector. They will assess the condition of the property. Number 7 is the appraiser. They are there to determine the home's market value and to make sure that it matches your offer. Essentially, with the lender and the loan, they want to make sure that your home is worth investing in and that they're not overvaluing your home with your offer. Finally, the last person involved is you. You are the star of the show, the buyer. All these roles, they may seem overwhelming, but that's where I come in, the real estate broker, the buyer real estate broker. I'm here to help facilitate the transaction, guide you through this process, and make sure that it runs as smoothly as possible. Now let's talk finances. So earnest money is to show that you, the buyer, are committed to the purchase of the property. It normally ranges between 2 to 3% of the purchase price here in Seattle. After our offer, or when we get into mutual acceptance from the seller, when both parties agreed to the terms, you, the buyer, will need to deposit the earnest money within 2 business days of the date after mutual acceptance. And for earnest money, this will go towards any closing costs at closing or towards your down payment. Now, for the down payment for a conventional loan, you'll need at least 5% down, but this can really depend on the type of loan that you get. For FHA loan, the down payment can be low as 3.5% of the purchase price. For VA loan, if you're a qualified veteran, the down payment is 0%. There's also down payment assistance programs to help you if you are eligible. With your earnest money, my job is also to protect that and to ensure that if we do decide to pull the offer after mutual acceptance, that we have contingencies in place, we stick to those timelines, those deadlines, and that if we do decide to pull our offer, that you, the buyer, get all of your earnest money back. When you meet with the lender, they will also walk you through different loan options, and keep in mind, if you are planning on putting less than 20% down, you will need to factor in PMI, or private mortgage insurance. Let's go through a really quick breakdown of what the costs are going to look like for you as a buyer if you put 10% down for a conventional loan. So let's say the purchase price is $825,000. That's the median home price here in Seattle. That statistic includes condos, townhomes, residential homes. And for your down payment, let's say you're putting 10% down. So for the upfront cost for the loan, including the down payment that's due at closing, that is right around $87K. The title and escrow fees for the closing costs, that's right around $3,400. The total for the home inspection and the appraisal, that is right around $1,400. For the prorated property tax for the home and the homeowner's insurance, that is right around $4,800 for the prorated tax and then $410 for the homeowner's insurance. And for the total, that would be, so the total upfront for the closing costs, for the down payment, for everything that we went over, that is right around $98K. Something to keep in mind is the earnest money that we deposited upfront to escrow. That is 3% of the purchase property, so we can subtract that number from the total closing costs. So the total upfront cost for this home with that loan is $73K. For the PMI, private mortgage insurance, that is tacked on if your down payment is less than 20% for loans. Once your equity for your home reaches 20%, that payment is normally taken off. I do also have a list of lenders that I recommend, so reach out to me via email. All my information is down in the description below if you do want to get that list. Now here's where things get pretty fun. The search. Now, hold your horses there. Before you even step into a house as a buyer, I do recommend already being in talks with a lender or working with a lender, just because in Seattle, the market can get so competitive and houses can go so quickly. Also, I do recommend setting your budget lower than your max, because there could be a bidding war situation where you need to escalate your offer price, or if there's going to be any repairs needed on the home that you purchase. This kitchen. Wow, I could really see myself cooking in this kitchen. This patio space. I could see myself enjoying this all the time. This view. Just like life, kind of similar to looking for a home, there's no such thing as a perfect house. As a house that's 100% everything that you're looking for. I like to tell clients to look for an 80% house. Then you know that you might have found the one. There are three main components of your search: condition, price, and location. Maybe you'll find a home that's in beautiful condition, you can afford it, but it's not in the neighborhood that you desire. Maybe you'll find a home that's in great condition, is walking distance to your work, but it's not at a price point that you can afford. With your home search, with these three components, you can rarely have all three. I let buyers know to look for 2 out of the 3. Let's go over the buyer agency agreement really quickly. So since 2024, Washington State does require a buyer brokerage service to be signed between all brokerages, all brokers/agents at that firm, and their buyers. Before, it was technically optional to sign one. The timeline for this agreement is within a reasonable amount of time. Since the timeline is pretty vague, agents are going to be different about how they go about when you as a buyer are signing this agreement. Some will require it before you step foot in a house. Some will do it the day of putting in an offer, which the DOJ does frown upon you signing a buyer brokerage agreement the day of putting in an offer. So that's something to keep in mind. Personally, I do not make people sign this right away. I don't think it's fair to force someone upfront into a relationship with me without building their trust and confidence. You know, maybe we do a buyer intake first. I figure out what you're specifically looking for, what your non-negotiables are. The document, it's not scary. It's only about 2 pages long. It states the commission of the buyer agent or buyer broker. You both agree on it. It says the timeline of what your search will be, which area you're looking in. Also, this agreement can be amended. So if you're not a good fit, you can also not continue to work with that broker. I recommend with buyers that you're always interviewing multiple agents just to make sure that you're working with one that suits you best. So, you have found the right house and now you want to put in an offer. Everything is done electronically, so you do not need to worry about signing physical contracts. The offer really comes down to how much you want to pay for the house and how many contingencies or outs do you want to place in the contract. Remember that you're fronting earnest money up front. It's basically a deposit when your offer is accepted. Contingencies are set with the contract to make sure that if you do want out, that you can still recoup your earnest money. Now, something to keep in mind is it's kind of a balancing act with sellers, because sellers, they're more likely to accept an offer with fewer contingencies. Here are a few contingencies that are normally included in your offer. There's an inspection contingency, just in case there's any foundation issues with the home, so that you can pull your offer, still get your earnest money back. There's a financing contingency, just in case you lose your job and you're not able to afford the home anymore, so you're able to pull your offer, still get your earnest money back. There's also a title contingency, just in case there's any liens or anything that pops up on the title report and you want out of that contract. Your first offer may not even be accepted by the seller. They may counter with a different purchase price, different timeline for a contingency, or even strike off a contingency. As your agent, it's my job to figure out what does the seller truly want. Are they going through a divorce? Maybe they want to sell the home fairly quickly. Maybe the seller, they're using it as an Airbnb. They live out of state and they could just sit. They can just wait. There's no urgency at all with their timeline, and it's my job to figure that out. This stage can become a back and forth with me and the listing agent. It's my job to negotiate your best interest as the buyer, and based on the listing agent's responses, there is a possibility that we pull our offer. An inspection is normally done after we put in an offer. We bring in a professional and they will go through every system in the house and will essentially make a laundry list of everything that's wrong. Even if there's a seller procured inspection, I still recommend you as the buyer getting inspection with the purchase of a home. You never know if the seller's inspection, if they missed anything. You want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence as a buyer. And even with new construction, there can still be a plethora of issues. So with the inspection contingency, we can negotiate with the seller after it's done if maybe we want them to fix something or give us a credit at closing. Ultimately, it's up to you to determine what you're comfortable with and how much work you want to put in after purchasing your home. When it's busy season here in Seattle, homes can go in just a few days. And this is a time period where some buyers with their offers will completely waive the inspection. Now, why would this be a benefit? Is because the seller is more likely to accept an offer if the inspection is waived. The inspection timeline can range normally anywhere between 5 to 10 days. So if this is waived, that gives the buyer less of an opportunity to pull their offer after mutual acceptance. I always recommend at least getting a pre-inspection done so that you can do your due diligence, and when you're putting your offer in, you are putting it in with confidence. So one of the most nerve-wracking steps in your home buying journey is the appraisal. The appraiser basically wants to make sure that you're paying for what your home is worth. The lender essentially wants to make sure that you're not overpaying for your home just in case you do default on your loan so that they can recoup their investment. This really only becomes an issue when there's a hot market and buyers could potentially drive up the home way past market value if there's a bidding war going on. If this does happen to you as a buyer, there are a few different options you can take. One, you can go back to the seller, renegotiate, see if they can come up with a price that's more market friendly. Or with the seller, we could meet in the middle. You would need to make up the cash between that amount and your loan amount. Also, when we do place in an offer, even before that, it's my job as your real estate broker to complete a comparative market analysis or CMA to make sure that you're not overpaying for your home and you're not going past its market value. At closing, title and escrow will take over. Title handles any paperwork involved, escrow handles any money. They record all the paperwork at the courthouse, and then ownership is transferred to you. They also release any funds from your lender to the seller or any lien holders. Once the courthouse has a receipt of everything being recorded, you get the keys to your new house. And if you did like this video, please remember to like and subscribe. Down in the description below, I am including a link for a mortgage calculator and all my information if you do have any questions. And if you did enjoy this video, make sure to check out some of my neighborhood tours as well. I hope you have a wonderful week.